Okay, happy Sunday. My name's Andrew Spirit, and this is live Q&A / information exchange. And I'm going to be doing this every Sunday. So this is for anybody who has general questions on spiritual development. You can post your questions live, and I'll answer them live for you. If there's anything I'm unable to answer right away, I will find out for you through one of my colleagues or healer friends. And I'm here to answer anything with regards to angels, guides, energy, psychic mediums, how we work, intuitive reiki, healing, anything along the lines of energy, spiritual development. Feel free to post your comments. And for those of you who don't know, I also do lives on Thursdays on Facebook. And those are live psychic messages. So Spirit guides me to random people that are tuning in and commenting with psychic messages. So have a look at, check that out on my Facebook page. My name on Facebook is exactly the same as my YouTube name. It's Mediumblessings / Andrew Spirit. So join me on Thursdays if you can, and also invite some like-minded friends, anyone who's interested in some general information about spiritual development, or check out my website. It's mediumblessings.weebly.com. But for Sundays, it is Q&A, information sharing, thought exchange, and it's not always the exact same time on Sundays. It's usually, or almost always, between late afternoon to early evening, depending on my schedule, but it won't be exactly the same time every Sunday. The Thursday lives for psychic messages are at 7 p.m. every Thursday. So post your comments, spiritual development, topics of interest, questions you may have. This is a good place for free resources. If you're looking for spiritual development groups online in your area, I may know of one. I am part of quite a number of groups in different areas, including Oshawa, Kingston, Belleville, Brockville, Smith Falls, Prescott, Cardinal, and a few others. So if you're looking for an online group specifically for a spiritual community, you're free to message me or ask me, and I can let you know which ones I'm aware of and get you in touch, because not everybody has a connection or knows people that are like-minded, that are willing to discuss topics like psychic mediums, energy healing, and things like that. So if you're looking for some free resources, I can help you with that, to put you in touch with online groups. So post your questions. I will answer them live right now if I can, as best I can. Anything along the lines of spiritual development. Invite some like-minded friends. This is to help anybody who's looking for just some direction, some more spiritual information. Also those who already have extrasensory perception, some gifts, whether you're also very intuitive, psychic, empathic. If you have certain abilities and you're not sure what to do with them or why you have them or how to manage your energy, I can help you with that too. I do also offer one-on-one mentoring for spiritual development. So check me out on my website, mediumblessings.weebly.com, and also my Facebook page, which is Mediumblessings / Andrew Spirit, same name as my YouTube name. Just spread the word. Please share on your social media platforms. I'd like to grow the Sunday YouTube group nice and big, same as the Thursday night lives, so we can help out a lot of people. And if you subscribe to the YouTube channel, it should notify you when I go live. I try to post at least half an hour or more before I go live on Sundays, because the time is not always the same. I do my best to give you a heads up, but as I said, always between late afternoon, early evening. And I think I've only been doing this less than 2 months, so the group is still small. So lots of opportunity to get all your questions answered. So I'll be online for a while as usual, and I'll just stay online according to the interest and the number of questions we get today. So feel free to post your questions. Anything that you need help with spiritual development. The only thing I'm not doing right now is psychic messages live, but any general information with spirit, energy, guides, and angels, and a few other topics I can help you with. Will be a few exceptions which I don't work with myself, which include things like tarot and crystals, but I know a lot of people who do. So one way or the other, I can get you the information, connect you with the people you need to be connecting with, and also helping you with finding more of your tribe, online groups that share your interests and are very similar to you. So now is your chance to just post your questions. And like I said, I'll be on for a while. I'll just hang around and see what the interest is. Hi, Christine. Nice to see you. It's been a while. Hope you're doing well. It's nice to connect with fellow healers once in a while as well. And I guess also it's nice for people that are also healers and mediums to also either get a tune-up or a healing and, work on our blocks and challenges as well. So it's good to network and connect. We also help each other out. I often do, well, not often, but when I'm in need, I'll do energy exchanges with some of my fellow healers because we all need healing at some point, or we all need some direction or help in with our energies because we have our challenges as well. It doesn't mean because we know a little bit more than most people about spirit that it's any easier for us. We also have our challenges, so we're constantly expanding and growing just like you and everybody else. So it is good to basically collaborate and share information. So this is one of the reasons I started the group, is for people who either need to find more of their own kind, their own like-minded tribe, get more information about what they're experiencing maybe, or just if they have general interest or are starting to awaken and need some direction, advice, information. This is the place for that. There's a big spiritual community in Eastern Ontario in various towns and little cities. So if you're not sure where they are, or you're not sure there are any, I can assure you there are, and there's lots of us around. So just ask away. Ask away, post your questions and comments, and please spread the word as well. I'm going to try and get this group to a nice, good size, and who knows what will develop from then and what else I'll be guided to include. And I think I'll just stop talking for a few minutes, see who else comes on and joins us. I know it's kind of last minute, but because I don't go live at exactly the same time every Sunday, Sundays are, it's like a weekend. It's difficult to peg an exact time. Schedules are more flexible, more all over the place. It's not like a weekday. Thursdays is nice because it's always 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Thursday. But Sunday, it's usually within a few hours of the same time, late afternoon, early evening, somewhere around there. So take advantage. These are opportunity to ask your questions, get some information, get some free resources. Very helpful. So please share with anybody who is interested and is just looking for someone to connect with that can help them and give them some information. Okay. I forgot to mention, I also have a book that I wrote a few years ago called Simply Spirit. It's available in online, Balboa Press on Amazon. I have copies with me in Brockville, Eastern Ontario. There's a lot of useful information. Have a look at the reviews at least. I've had a lot of good feedback. It's very useful information in the book. There's also a Q&A section at the back when I was practicing my channeling. It also is a book about how my consciousness evolved and developed and how my gifts came to be, how I discovered that I was a psychic and a medium. So have a look at Simply Spirit. There are two books online with the same title. Mine is the one with the beach sand and the blue sky right at the ocean. And my name's Andrew Spirit. So check that out if that interests you, if you feel drawn to. Or, like I mentioned, visit me on Facebook, Thursdays live for psychic messages. So during the lives on Thursdays, Spirit will guide me to certain people, random people, no specific order, and give me a message for them, a psychic message. So have a look at that. And I'm going to just have a look at Christine's message that you've just posted. Okay. Okay, when you do your readings, you gaze with open eyes. Are you receiving more visual or clairaudiently as a strength? Okay, so Christine, my two predominant gifts are clairvoyance and claircognizance, which is inner seeing. So I get visuals and images in my third eye. It's inner seeing. I don't see anything with my physical eyes. Everything's in my third eye, so I get the clairvoyant images in there, and claircognizance, the information is just, I don't know who or how it gets there or who puts it there, but it's like a clear knowing. Information just lands in my mind and I say it, but I'm not quite sure always how I know. I just know that I know. So that's the claircognizance. The information is just there. I guess I basically just tap into higher self, which has access to everything, and I just say it as it comes in. So those are my two strengths, clairvoyance and claircognizance. And the only reason I keep my eyes open is usually just to, if it's online particularly, just to keep an eye on the comments and the names to lock in. When I do one-on-one readings in person, I also keep my eyes open. I guess I don't really need to, but more importantly, I need like an auditory connection. So if I'm doing a reading in person, the sound of their voice, the vibration from the sound of their voice is what helps activate my connection and gives me a strong connection. That's probably why I'm able to do that over the phone as well. I do telephone readings as well, so I don't have to, I do them on Zoom online, but the odd person doesn't happen often, but once in a while I'll get someone that wants to just over the phone. They don't want to be seen. They don't want their picture. So I can do it over the phone. Just the sound of their voice is enough for me to connect. But then again, on Thursday lives, when I'm tuning in, all I'm seeing is a little name or a handle on the news feed with their comment. And I don't even see or hear anything from them. So I've got to, that's when it's the most challenging for me. I have to lock in on a name before that name disappears off the news feed, and just basically, in that case, I connect directly to source and I say, okay, you got to help me here because I'm not getting an auditory sound from the person's voice. All I'm seeing is a little name, and sometimes that name that they give themselves is not even their family name or accurate name. So I usually have to go directly to source and say, you got to help me here, take over a little bit more, and just clairvoyantly give me the information. So I should say claircognizantly and clairvoyantly. And that's basically how they help me. They say, you're going to that name. I sit for a few seconds and connect directly, and they just give me information. It is the hardest form for me. It's the hardest way for me to read, but it's also, it stretches me, it stretches my psychic muscle, and it's the most challenging, which helps me keep in psychic shape. So that's one of the reasons I do the lives, is because it's such good practice, and it makes me disciplined, and it's hard. Some are easier than others. It all depends on the connection. There's lots of energy coming at me, but it's very good practice. So those are my strengths, Christine. And as for you, if you mentioned yours seem to fluctuate, you're not the only one. I have heard of that. It could happen to any of us. As you evolve and grow, you could acquire more clairs, or they could just change and you could strengthen in a different one, and then sort of drift off or lose. You could say, not weaken in one, but you could become predominantly stronger in a different clair. So you're evolving all the time. So Spirit may choose down the road, hey, let's do it this way. You need a change. And then you've got to find a new way of practicing and connecting with Spirit. So I've heard of it before. It does happen. For me, it's been pretty stable up until this point. Once in a while, I think I've had a bit of clairaudience, but it's been so rare, I can hardly remember. So your gifts can change in the way you receive, because there's so many different ways, other than the five senses. There's so many different clairvoyant ways, even clairgustance, tasting, smelling Spirit. so many different ways. So if yours fluctuate, I'd quite enjoy experiencing a few changes myself in that way. It kind of gives you an kind of all-round experience. So I think that's kind of nice that you get to experience a few different methods. So I'm wondering if you're finding it just as much fun. I would quite enjoy that. Although my favorite so far, I think clairvoyance. Actually, I do enjoy both of mine. Clairvoyance and claircognizance for me are the easiest, or the most enjoyable, I'd say. I like imagery. I'm a visual person, so I love seeing images. I enjoy that very much. I would love to see with my physical eyes. That's one of my dreams, my goals, is to see spirit one day with my physical eyes. It hasn't happened yet, but I would love that. Some people have that ability and they don't want it, so I find that interesting. But I would love to see spirit with my physical eyes. I get everything internally, so it's up to spirit. Spirit decides ultimately how they wish to communicate with you. Your higher self is the one that's agreed to the method that you connect with source. You can, to a certain point, practice your skills. You can practice, for example, learning to see auras. I don't typically see them myself, or if I do, it's internally in my mind's eye. I could practice and practice to get it to see them with my physical eyes, but then again, that requires time, energy, and effort, and it depends on how badly you want it. So I've got other interests as well, so I don't particularly feel like sitting and practicing to see auras with my physical eyes, but it can be done. Can be done, and results vary from person to person, but it's possible. And so I hope that that fully answers your question and clarifies. And if I answer a question and you feel you need more detail, just let me know, and we'll dig deeper and we'll pick it apart and we'll drill down and get more in detail with it. So while I'm on the live, I'm happy to keep answering whatever questions you have. Spiritual development, angels, guides, energy, healing, intuitive Reiki, and anything else you can think of. I will try and help you out with that. So this is your chance now. Post your questions live, and I will get the answer for you either right away or I will find out from one of my colleagues or friends. So lots of free resources available tonight and every Sunday. So every Sunday on YouTube Live. Okay. Enjoy all the ways it comes. Yeah. Yeah, I don't even know how many clairs total there are. I mean, there's many more than this. I can think of 5 or 6 standard or common ones, but there's even more than that. There's lots of ways spirit can reach you. Smell, taste, and I mean spiritually, like clairgustance, tasting spirit, not physically tasting like food. You can taste spirit, you can smell spirit. Clairaudience is inner hearing. Is clear, I can't remember this. Oh, there's a few. There's so many different ways. There's psychometry, holding objects. There's dream interpretation. There's lucid dreaming. There's physical trance mediums, where literally you allow a channel or a entity to take over your physical body completely, and you literally get pushed out of the way. And sometimes you don't even remember or are aware of what's going on when the medium is using your body as a vessel. One good example, I believe, you've probably heard of Bashar, world famous channel entity, which is channeled by a man named Daryl Anka. So Bashar is one of those examples. Okay, we've got a question from RZ. How did you know you were a medium? Okay, so initially I thought that people were either born that way. From birth, you're either a medium or you're not, and I was mistaken. I joined a meditation circle. All I wanted to do was learn how to meditate. And when I joined the foundation, the spiritual foundation, I learned to meditate, and then I took spiritual development classes for 3 years. I learned, they taught me about natural law, energy, guides, angels, and then we started doing basic psychic messages with each other, like pairing up with someone and just telepathically connecting and see what we could do. And I dabbled with that for a while, and I thought this is kind of nice. I was getting some accuracy, some validation, and then eventually another medium asked me and said, "When are you going to be doing readings for people?" And I said to this person, I said, "Well, I can't because I'm not a medium. I just assumed you were either, it's black and white. You're born that way or you're not." But mediums can also awaken later on. I call myself a late bloomer. Some people have had the gift since childhood or teens. Mine developed much later in my adult life. So I didn't think when it was possible to awaken and realize you had mediumistic abilities, but that's what happened with me. So as I started practicing and doing more messages, psychic messages, I was getting feedback from people who I didn't know, and they were validating, confirming that what I was getting from them was accurate. So as soon as I realized that what I was doing was real, people were confirming with me, and I knew nothing about them, then I kind of eventually accepted that I can do that. And once you learn that you can do that, you are either going to go for it and make a few mistakes along the way and fine tune it, or fear will overcome you and kind of keep you back. I was in classes with people that were more gifted than me. They were faster and better, but they were petrified of being in front of people, standing on a stage, or in front of an audience and publicly doing it. And I've seen people back out of it and literally just walk away from it, just purely out of fear. So for whatever reason, I'm glad that I decided to just push through it. And it's like any job or occupation. You don't start off perfectly. You make mistakes, and you've got to work with your ego, and you get tested a lot. It's challenging because ego is not used to this higher self wanting to come in and take over and just help people and be very connected to source. So ego will give you a run for its money, for your money. But anyway, that's how I found out I was a medium. I was fortunate to get mentoring and classes, so I highly recommend it. Some people are self-taught, so they've had to figure out things by themselves. But I really, really encourage development classes or mentoring, because you learn about mediumship do's and don'ts, what is appropriate, what isn't appropriate. Mediumship is just because you have the ability doesn't mean you should just randomly approach people and just do it to them. You need to get their permission. For one thing, what I was taught, there's etiquette with mediumship. So I recommend getting education and some mentoring with that as well. But I know I've rambled on a little bit too much about that, but that's how I discovered as a medium. I was lucky enough to find a good circle and a spiritual foundation and get educated and taught and mentored. So I was very blessed that way. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm aware there are a lot of online spiritual community groups in towns and cities all over the place, and I know of quite a handful all over Eastern Ontario, from Ottawa, Smith Falls, Brockville, Cardinal, Belleville, Kingston, Oshawa even. They're all over. You just got to know where they are and connect with them. So there are a lot of online groups that are happy to help you. You can get a lot of free resources and questions answered. There's some really good, helpful groups, spiritual groups out there that are helping people with their abilities and just sharing general information of what they know. Anything from, even if you want to know about spell casting or rituals to cleanse your home, cleanse yourself. There's so many different things that are free and available if you just look for them, or if you need some help, I can, recommend a few groups depending where you live. I might be able to help. With me preferring an audience or one-on-one. That's a tough one for me because I do enjoy both. I do like both. One-on-ones are generally the easiest. I'm dealing with one person's energy. So one-on-ones, I'd say for the most part, are the easiest. Audience there's more energy in the audience, but it's also more fun because on the upside, I get quite a bit of a high from all the energy. Sometimes so I'm an introvert and an extrovert. I cannot be one or the other. I have to have both. So sometimes I need to be amongst people. I kind of get a bit of a pick-me-up or a buzz off their energy as well. So not all mediums are like that, especially empaths, but for me, it tends to work in my favor. So I do enjoy the odd audience. I do enjoy group readings. Um, I'm comfortable with both. I can handle, and this is like maybe 2 days of being by myself, staying home and hermiting or not doing anything. By the third day, I'm already losing it. I need to go on people. I need to be amongst people. So that's just the way I am. I need both. I can't just be one or the other. I can last about 2 days on my own with my own company. That's it. That's my limit. 2 full days and then I'm done. So I like both. Audience and one-on-ones, all good for me. I like group readings. I do group readings at people's private homes. Once every few months, there's even it's a small theatre in Gananoque, Eastern Ontario. I'll go there and do in front of an audience of anywhere between, say, 10, 20 people. Once I've had up to about 80 plus people. So I like a mix. I like it all. Okay, Christine, thanks for joining us and enjoy your session. Can I read animals? So I haven't directly sat with pets and tried to pick up on them in it. Well, I've tried it a few times, very seldom. I do occasionally get pets come through during readings for people. So I have had deceased pets come through while I'm giving someone a reading. That does happen from time to time. So animals have come through during readings. As for directly reading animals, I've tried it literally a couple of times. I've experimented with. I took a course with there's a friend of mine that's an animal communicator, and she specializes in communicating with deceased pets and living pets, and even wild animals and reptiles and insects and you name it. But I haven't done enough of it, so it's interesting. I've tried it a few times. I don't pick up a lot. So I'd say I'd need to practice that more often. I just haven't had the opportunity or I haven't been asked or it just hasn't sort of come up for me to read animals. So I think if I were to try and read one, I probably wouldn't get a great amount of information. But again, that just comes down to, I guess, practicing. So I've specifically just purely worked with people for the most part. But if animals come through a reading, then that's different. So that usually comes without me even trying. Sometimes the deceased pet just wants to be remembered and acknowledged by its human owner. So it'll come through for that reason. But it'd be nice to read animals. I just kind of haven't been specifically guided to do that. But it's an interesting idea. It does sound like fun to me. It would be helpful. It would be pretty handy to do that too. And like I said, I mean, I could if I really, really was drawn to, I could practice it and experiment with it. But my experience is pretty limited with animals at this point. Okay. Okay, so if anybody else has questions, fire away. You're welcome to post live. Anything about spiritual development, energy guides, angels, anything along those lines. Hi, Carolyn. Now is your chance. So if you're looking for resources, groups, spiritual direction, guidance, I'm not doing psychic readings though. This is just more for general information. Your questions are welcome. So post away. Okay. And looks like we've had a few more join-ins. So, and I've repeated this, but for those of you who didn't hear earlier, every Sunday, YouTube Live, it's Q&A information exchange. somewhere between late afternoon, early evening, not always the exact same time, but I will try and give a heads up on my Facebook page, and at least half an hour or more before that, I'll try and post. Thursday lives are always at 7 p.m. That's psychic messages. So if you tune in on Thursdays and just post a comment, if I'm divinely guided to you, Spirit will give me a psychic message for you. A lot of people do tune in, so only a handful do get messages, but that happens on Thursdays. I also do one-on-one mentoring. So if you want to learn more about me and how I work and what I do and what I connect with, my website is mediumblessings.weebly.com. My Facebook profile name, is the same as my YouTube name, Medium Blessings Andrew Spirit. And Carolyn, I'm going to look at your question now. How's the energy different with an angel? So for me, when I am connecting with an angel versus a guide or a deceased loved one, angel energy for me is usually the easiest to decipher and figure out, because their energy is the brightest and the highest vibration. So I see the most light, and usually, fortunately for my benefit, they usually present themselves in a very bright light, and I can feel their energies angelic, and sometimes they'll even show me their form, like literally like what you would see in a Bible book, a nice, beautiful color picture of an angelic figure with wings that has human characteristics. It's in a beautiful white or gold robe. So for me, it's quite easy to determine when I'm dealing with an angel. They make themselves known visually and very clearly to me. Guides can be a little bit more complicated, because some guides have been human before, some have not. So guides is a little bit more complicated. I get a combination of a feeling, and sometimes I get images. Some guides look very human and some not so much. And of course, deceased loved ones, that's a little bit more complex than the other two. That's a combination. Sometimes the visual is very clear, sometimes it's more of a feeling, and sometimes it's just clear cognizance. The information's there, but I'm not seeing with my mind's eye. So it's a mixture of ways. But so angelic energy typically is the highest vibing, the brightest light, for me anyway. And the way they appear to me physically, or visually, I should say visually, makes it easy for me to tell they're an angel. For me, they're the easiest to detect and to identify as angels. Okay, good question, RC. Do you ever have negative entities come through? Very rare. Once in a while, I'll get one that tries to distract me or throw me off. It is rare. I've never had any that are what I'd describe as very menacing or threatening or dangerous. I've never had that. Worst case, they've either tried to distract me or give me misinformation, or they just kind of piggybacked onto the connection, and they just want to literally distract me and, take up the energy and kind of tamper with the connection. So in terms of negative, usually your energy's got to be really, really down and low for you to potentially be a match for like something that's very, very demonic and negative to even be able to connect with you. I've never had a demon connect with me, but I'm very particular about keeping my vibration in a certain place. So usually that's rare. It's for people that are really, really down and out and are in a very, very traumatic or depressed state. That's usually your vibration's got to be so low that it's got to resonate close enough for a demon or a demonic entity to have a chance of reaching you. Because most of us, because our vibration is fairly high and the negative demonic entities are so low, it's very hard for them to even get to us and penetrate our energy. So I've never had it that bad. Worst case, I just get something or someone that tries to just distract me or throw me off. But it doesn't last long before I figure out either they don't belong, they're not helping, or there's no relevant connection or association, and then I just literally get rid of them and kick them out. So yeah, I haven't had anything really bad myself. And also, when you're playing with tools of divination, a Ouija board is a very good example. Most people, when they hear a Ouija board, it has a very negative connotation. So it's not the board itself or the modality. It is just how you use it. So with something like a Ouija, unless you're highly, highly skilled and trained how to use it, I say don't touch it. And I'm one of those people. I will never use one. Never been trained in it. It can open portals and things that you don't necessarily want to open. So I just say leave it alone unless you're an expert and you've been trained how to use it. It's not the board or the device itself. It's your intention. Your intention takes care of everything. Everything is to do with your intention. So it doesn't matter what the modality or the tool is. The intention determines what happens in the connection. Okay, Sheila, you asked, have you had this ability for all of your life? As far as I'm aware, I'm going to say no, because I only woke up, or I should say, it only awoke in me very late in life. So I grew up Catholic, so I was very black and white, very rigid, quite narrow-minded, and I wasn't aware or didn't use or have the ability. So for me, it was not my whole life. It developed very later on in life for me. And for me, it happened gradually. Some it happens very rapidly. For me, it was late in life and gradual. So not my whole life. Everybody's different, though. What do I do to keep my vibration high? Okay, so your peace and your harmony. Peace and harmony is very, very important. So my peace and harmony means a great deal to me. So if something is not enhancing my life, whether it's a person, a job, a situation, an area, a living, a place, I'm very, very good with cutting things off and detaching from them. So aside from that, meditation is key. I meditate a few times a week, very helpful. I purposely have a slower pace of life. So meaning I don't lounge around. I do a lot of physical activity. So 5 days a week, I'm very active physically. But when it comes to work and projects, I take my time and I make gaps for myself. Everything is energy, and that includes what you put in and on your body. So I'm I'm a bit of a health nut. I'm health conscious. So I eat high vibrational foods. Food affects your mood. If you're off or unwell physically, it's very hard to do psychic work. It's very hard to meditate. Your spiritual, mental, and emotional bodies all tie in together. So I eat very well. I get enough rest. So I basically don't overdo it too much in any regard. If I need to work or push it hard, I do short term, and then I stop and I make sure I get the rest. So sleep, good nutrition, because anything you put in and on your body is energy, it's vibration. So also because of what I do, you become more sensitive to food types. It's just something that happens as your vibration rises. I used to eat garbage when I was a young kid as well, but as your vibration changes, it starts to resonate with at once other vibrations of a similar on a similar level. So certain foods I just can't eat, even if they do taste good. I just can't stomach them anymore. My body lets me know I'm not happy with this vibration. I don't like it. So there's certain things I just cannot eat. I'm not vegan or anything like that, but I can't just go and eat anything off the supermarket shelf. It's got to be a certain grade. Otherwise, the vibration doesn't gel well with my body. My body lets me know. It says, I don't like this. So sleep, food, meditation is very good. Your peace is very good. People, you've got to be very specific with people and the company you keep. I've learned to be very quick to cut things off that pull my energy down, because if I get drained, I know it, and it happens quickly, and I don't like being drained too much. So I'm very quick to do something about it soon. So even if it means having to be different, and sometimes you get a bit ostracized for it, but that comes with the territory. If you have to be different for your own well-being, that's what it's got to take. Certain things I can't do that other people can still do, because it doesn't make me well, it doesn't vibrate well with me. So those are some of the things. You've got to be as authentic as you can, and you've got to honor your own feelings. If you are like me and you have an unusual or not unusual. It's just like, for example, my diet and my lifestyle. I can't eat garbage or junk food. I just cannot do it. My body will let me know, and it's not worth it. It's really not worth it for me. So if you have to be a bit different in one way or another, so be it. You got to do you, and you got to give your attention and your body things that are in alignment with your own vibration. Energy is everything is energy, everything. The things you watch on TV. I don't watch cable. I don't have TV. I have a TV set that sits in my closet, and I may pull it out a handful of times a year if I want to watch, say, a documentary like Gaia or spiritual documentaries, but that's rare. Screens, Wi-Fi signal. I got to be more careful with Wi-Fi signal and things like that. So as you evolve, you get more sensitive to vibrations. So I can't do a lot of things. I can't have like noise or certain music that has the wrong vibration for me. I can't handle that. So certain things I just have to cut out. But when I do that, I feel optimal. Like I can do a lot. I have a really decent amount of energy. So I don't know if that's I don't want to just ramble on too much, RZ, but I hope that answered your question thoroughly. But if not, just let me know. And any other questions you have. I see there's another one here by Danielle, being woken up by a man saying your name. Okay, so yes, it could be your spirit guide. Often guides will try to connect with you during the sleeping state because your body's at rest, you don't have visual and auditory distractions, you're at rest, because during the day when you're doing the job or you're in your routine, you're driving a car, spirit's got virtually no chance of reaching you and you even being aware they're trying to connect with you. So early hours of the morning during the sleep state is spirit's best chance, and dreams are the best way that they can send you a message. Dream interpretation is very, very helpful. So often guides do that. Even sometimes deceased loved ones will try and reach you in dreams. And it's usually just spirit trying to get a message through to you, helping you become aware of something. Maybe there's something you need to work on or change. So yes, they will try that to get your attention. They will also, even a song on the radio that resonates with you, that connects something with you, the sign on a billboard, they'll use whatever signs and things they can. But the dream state is one of the most common. It's the easiest way or the best shot they have of reaching us. They hear and see and receive everything we think at them, but when it comes to the other way around, we're not really trained to use our telepathy, our psychic, or in other words, I use the word psychic and intuition interchangeably. We're just not accustomed to doing that because we're so involved with our 5 physical senses. So hope that answers your question, Danielle. And similar during meditation, that's a good way of opening up the door to your guides to see if they have anything they want to share with you. Meditation is a good way to practice your intuition to connect with your guides. You can actively set the intention and practice connecting with them. Hope that answers your question, and welcome to the few people who have just joined in. So for those, I know I've repeated myself a few times, but this is Q&A, information exchange, anything about spiritual development. Post your questions and I'll do my best to answer them or find out from one of my colleagues. Guided meditation, yes, any form of meditation is helpful. We all meditate in a different way. There's probably more than 100 ways you can meditate. You can have silent meditation, you can have guided meditation. Guided meditation is especially good for people that are not very, very experienced yet. And also because you can get specific meditations designed for specific intentions, such as how to practice connecting with your guides, or how to work on manifesting a better life experience, or anything you need help with. There are specific meditations designed to help you rewire your thinking, reprogram yourself to do that. So guided meditation is super helpful. I still do guided meditations. I listen to guided meditations as well. As I mentioned earlier, I meditate a few times a week. So Mondays, I teach meditation from my home. It's open to the public. So I facilitate on a Monday. And I'd say at least once, maybe 2 more times a week, I'll go to a colleague of mine who's also a meditation facilitator. And he will do his style of meditating. And often we'll do a combination of just music and sitting in silence, and listening to guided meditations, and sometimes even there'll be a bit of chanting, an instrumental from one of our members. Like today today I had a combination of someone brought a harmonium, so they played the harmonium. We did some chanting. We had guided meditation. We sat in silence for a period of time, and we listened to some background music. So we did a whole bunch of things. So absolutely, guided meditation or any form of meditation to me is one of the most valuable tools, hands down, to develop your intuition, your psychic ability. If I didn't know how to meditate, I probably would find it much, much harder to do what I do. And there's health benefits too. Mental health, emotional health benefits, and even physical health benefits. So guided meditation helps you focus on your breathing, your breath work as well. It slows things down. It cuts out all the distractions. It's good for blood pressure and a whole bunch of other things, stress and more. So absolutely one of the best tools is meditation. So basically, as I mentioned from one of the questions we had earlier, meditation, just well-being. It's your lifestyle. So like I said, everything you give your attention to, eat, ingest, put on your skin, watch, listen to is energy. It's vibration, which means it affects you one way or the other. So disturbing, negative, anxious music can throw you off. It can throw your rhythm off, your biorhythm. Watching drama or violence or unpleasant things on TV, kind of like mainstream media, news. You got to be mindful of whatever you give your attention to. Thoughts are things. So energy is energy. Okay, Danielle, is my group meditation guided? So basically, partially. So what I do with my meditation is, when we start off, I start off guiding with my voice. I don't. So the music is just background music that I play, but it's not talking. It's just music. I do a bit of talking in the beginning, and I kind of guide you off and set a little bit of a tone or an intention. So I talk for a little while and I kind of guide you, but I consider it a guideline. I guide you and then I stop and I leave you for a good long stretch of time in complete silence, except for some nice background music playing from the CD player. So you have time to just drift off and go wherever you need to go. So the first part that I talk about is just a little bit of a guideline. If you find your meditation is totally different from that, that's perfect. You can't go wrong in meditation. There's no way you can go wrong. Sometimes you're not meant to follow what the voice is saying to you. So for the most part, it's silent with a bit of background music. I just kind of get you going. And then you're left to your own devices to pretty much do whatever you like. Sometimes I may set a guideline to go to a certain place or dimension or area. But after that, you're free to do whatever you want. So you don't have to follow it exactly. It's not rigid. It's very open-ended. That's how I do my meditations. So lots of quiet time and lots of freedom to just do what you want or allow yourself to go wherever you need to go. Okay. What if you have heard your name and no one is home? And what if you're sleeping and you feel your bed? Okay, Roberta, that's pretty standard, normal. I've heard this from a few people. Sometimes spirit will clairaudiently whisper your name. So it's your inner hearing. It could be either a deceased loved one or a spirit guide just calling at you, wanting to get your attention. Or sometimes they sit at the foot of your bed and you may feel that little impression of as if they were in a body. So you're sensing their presence, basically. It's just someone stepping in. Sometimes it's a deceased loved one or a spirit guide, and usually it's benevolent, well-meaning, almost all the time. They're just trying to get your attention. Maybe there's something you need to know, or they're just wanting to let you know they're around you and all is well. So for me, it's usually a good thing, especially if you're aware of it. It means you're pretty open. You can detect spirit. So what you could do is, before you go to sleep, you could set the intention that you want to recreate that dream or that connection with whoever came to visit you, and ask them questions. Do I need to know anything? Why are you visiting me? Is there something you need help with? And you may have to try it 5 times, 15 times. I don't know. Everybody's different. But you can ask, and if you don't get an answer after a while, then just stop trying. If you try hard enough and you're meant to get a specific answer or direction, or you'll get it. It'll come to you. If the spirit just wanted to be acknowledged, or just wanted to be around you, then they will not give you a message. So try for a little while, but then if nothing happens, just don't push it. Don't worry about it. Just forget about it. So spirit is around you all the time. Loved ones don't really go anywhere. It's just sometimes they like to connect, and they want to let you know they're still around. There's still life after the physical, and it's all good. Okay. So yeah, it's also similar to when you get a dream. You'll see different characters in a dream, and often dreams are hard to interpret. You don't know what the meaning is. You can try or set the intention every night after to go back to the dream, recreate it, and this time take a more active role and just question all the other characters. That's one way of getting more information as to the reason you're having the dream. What's the purpose? Do you need to know anything? Often all the different characters in the dream are all about you anyway as well. Not every single case, but often. So it's not scary at all. It's the only reason some people find it scary is because they don't know why it's happening, and we're not used to it, and it's maybe awkward, uncomfortable, but it's almost always good and positive. Spirit just wants to connect with you. Spirit has a tremendous amount of love for people. All I want to do is help and be around and look after your soul body. So they don't mean any harm. It's extremely rare that you get an entity that is malevolent, that wants to cause trouble or pain. It's very rare. For the most part, they're either drawn to your energy, they just want to spread the love and be around you. It's just about connection. Spirit's connected to everything. On the other side, we're all one. We come from the same source. So it's all good. Okay. Oh, that's interesting dream. Okay, so normally if you told maybe the average Joe on the street running towards a cliff and then jumping, a lot of people may interpret that or misinterpret that as a negative thing, or take it too literally, or be fearful about it. But that's just it's symbology, right? So jumping off a cliff with spirit, it's not about physical, it's symbolic. So leaping off a cliff, it would take a lot of trust, a lot of faith, and a lot of courage in one sense. So it's how you interpret it, depending on what you were taught, what's been ingrained in you. Unfortunately, we were not taught a lot about spirit and spiritual freedom, spiritual development. So we have lots of things we need to unlearn and reprogram ourselves with better things. So that's why it's called a spiritual practice. We're practicing and expanding and growing as we're going along. Okay, is it normal to see shadows of people or animals? For some, it's totally normal. We're all so unique. We perceive energy differently. So a lot of us, obviously, the 5 senses are standard with most people, but we also have other senses, and those vary from person to person because our energy is unique. We're all on a different vibration, a frequency. So some people will see shadows of people or animals that are either physical or not necessarily physical. It could be an energetic shadow. So if you look at what is normal, Normal is maybe what the majority of people would accept as normal, but it's very open-ended. So nothing wrong or strange about seeing shadows of people. Some people see ghosts with their physical eyes. Some see them with their third eye or their inner eye, kind of like your mind's eye. Like when you're remembering a clip of a movie or a memory from the past. That's how I often see things in my third eye when I'm interpreting energy. So um, everything is appropriate, everything is good. It's just how do you perceive energy? It's just a unique thing from person to person. Okay. Oh, you see shadows within the first 3 days of their passing. Okay, so yep, within the first 3 days. So yeah, you're just picking up on their spiritual essence. When the physical body expires, they're still around. So you're just detecting spirit in your own unique way. So nothing unusual for me anyway about that. I've known one or two people that can tell within a few weeks or a couple of months of when someone's going to pass away by either they just look at them, or if one would stand next to them and just smell the air around them, they'd immediately know with high accuracy that they were going to pass away soon. It's not the most pleasant gift. They hated it. They didn't like it at all. I found it fascinating, but not the nicest kind of gift you have, but there's a reason they have it. Spirit's teaching them about the life-death process, or it's more of a transition. It's not like a beginning and an end. So maybe they have that gift to learn about fear and understanding the death process better. That was my take on it anyway. So yeah, we all see spirit and detect spirit in different ways. So all of it's good. It's you're unique, right? Everybody, all of you tuning in, know a whole bunch of things that I don't know. You could say vice versa. We all have a few pieces of the puzzle. So what's that saying? Reminds me of that saying, variety is the spice of life. So it'd be pretty boring if we all worked the same way, saw everything the same way. It'd pretty be pointless, I think. So yeah, we're basically reconnecting with each other, putting the pieces back together as we work our way back to the source, the divine, whatever you want to call her or him, God. If you don't have a problem with that word, it doesn't matter what you call it. We're all from the same thing. Energy is energy, basically. So for me, energy can manifest, express, and do whatever it chooses to do. Energy doesn't have limits. You can't physically stop energy. It's not confined in a physical box or anything like that. It's kind of like psychic mediumship readings. Nothing can physically get in the way of it. There's no time, there's no space or time distance. Yeah, we're all here to kind of put our flavor out there for everyone to experience and share some information and whatever else we can do to help. I like that. Inspiring equals in spirit. Yep, we're all here for a reason. Some are meant to be more of an observer type. Some are meant to be more doer type and be very, very active, depending what your soul chose for you. For example, we get the extremes like freedom fighters, like Martin Luther King, Nelson Mandela, people like that had quite an extreme journey. And you get others that are more like silent observers that kind of work behind the scenes. Everyone's path is so different. There's no way of telling what's appropriate, what's not. Everyone's got to figure out for themselves. So we've just got to figure out how to harmonize and get along better, basically. While at the same time paying attention to our own path and what we should be doing and what we feel is the best course of action for ourselves. It's kind of like, I like to say, if we just stay in our own business more, I think things tend to be run smoother anyway. Yeah, so it's been some really good questions tonight. It's been a really good exchange, a good session here. So please share and spread the word. If anybody's looking for some guidance, information, if they have questions, spiritual questions, welcome to come in and post their questions. If I can't answer it right away during the live, I'll find out from one of my colleagues and get the information to you. So every Sunday, somewhere around late afternoon, early evening, YouTube live, or join me on the Psychic Messages live on Facebook on Thursdays. Lots of free resources available. So yeah, join in and share. Anybody is like-minded that needs some connecting with some like minds, online groups. I know a lot of online groups in a few different cities and towns that are spiritual groups that like to share what they know. Anything from cleansing yourself, cleansing your house, spellcasting. When I say Wicca or witchcraft, like nature-based, I mean the good stuff. It's not negative. Anything that helps you work with energy, cleanse yourself, heal. There's a lot of people with a lot of experience out there in these groups that are willing to help. Lots of good free resources out there. Just some people don't know where to find it. So it's out there. There's a lot of it out there. So if you have questions about it, or you know someone who's looking, just send them my way and I can help them out. I can put them in touch. I can connect them with the resources. Mentoring, like I love to teach pretty much. I enjoy teaching as much as I do enjoy giving private readings and energy healings. I do intuitive reiki healings, not only in person. I can do remote healing, distant healing as well. Same with the mentoring. I do it online or in person. I love doing one-on-one mentoring. I love teaching and sharing the info as well. So it's fascinating meeting people with, everybody's unique. Everybody has such interesting gifts. So I like working with different people and helping them with their abilities as well. So I'll stick around another minute or two, just give everyone a last chance. If there's any more questions that you have before I sign off, feel free. We're already on an hour now, so it's been a good session. Any last questions? Okay, Danielle, you mentioned earthing and grounding. Are you wanting to know some techniques to do that? Are you looking for earthing and grounding techniques or methods? Okay, thank you for your message. 7 Seas, I hope you join us next week or on Thursdays. I'm on Facebook as well, so if you look for Mediumblessings Andrew Spirit, I'm on Facebook. There may be the odd impersonator. Sometimes they copy my name and create a fake profile, so be wary of that. Or get the link from my website, mediumblessings.weebly.com. My Facebook link is in the website as well. Okay. So Danielle, back to your question, your comment, earthing and grounding. If you're asking for methods, so for me, good grounding is when I remember. Sometimes I get slack. Like even now, I did it a few days ago. I take my socks and shoes off and I go and walk around on my front lawn. In the summer, it's easy. I love going barefoot. Barefoot is the best way to ground. Having my feet on the grass or the soil. Barefoot is excellent grounding. Or putting your hands on trees. If you can't do that, walking in the woods or the forests, anywhere in nature, being on or in water. So what I do, even now with the weather now, I take my socks and shoes off. I'll walk around my front yard, and I'll usually walk up to I have a little maple tree there. I'll put my hands on it and just kind of touch the maple tree, say hi, whatever. And I'll do that for 45 seconds, maybe a minute, like a walk in the snow. If you do it for under a minute or so, you should be fine. Sometimes I'll even shovel a little square patch of snow away so that I can see the grass sticking out and just stand on that so I'm closer to the grass itself, just to get that charge out of me. So it's good because we carry electrical current in our system. So I'll just stand on the ground barefoot, and then when your feet get cold enough, you'll feel it. Then you just go back inside, warm the feet up. Like I bundle up, I have the coat on, maybe, and then you just come back in and bundle up. So that's a good way for grounding. Grounding is very, very important. As for Shilpi's question, do I believe in God? That's a kind of I guess it comes down to what you perceive as a God. So for me, God is not something that's separate or detached from me. I believe that we are kind of like all are a spark of God. I kind of look at it. Everybody on the planet is like God in a body or a costume. So I believe we all comprise a piece of God. We're like facets of the same diamond or ball, and we all are a piece of God. And this is how God experiences through each and every individual being on the planet and on other planets and everywhere else. So my concept of God is not a separate being. It is basically oneness with everything that is. So I'm not sure if that helps answer your question, but that's how I perceive God. Um, okay. So Danielle, do I believe those work? I'm not sure. I've heard of grounding sheets. I don't know how well they work. I would think they do. I have a friend who uses them. He's very happy with them. So he feels they work, so they should be fine. For me, it's just nothing's better or easier to just like get into nature. And like I said, 30 seconds, 45 seconds, stand in the snow. I mean, you can have a towel by the door ready to warm you up as soon as you come in. But that's what I find best. Barefoot for me works magic. Or if it's too cold, just take your mitts off and put your hands on a tree for a while. Hug the tree or something. I find that's for me personally. I find works well. Uh, Sheila, grounding grounding is super healthy and helpful. I would imagine it would help for you because when you ground, you get rid of that charge out of your system. So, in my opinion, I'm going to say yes, it should help you. Um, so try it out. Do it every day, even if it's for like a minute. Barefoot on the ground or bare hands on a tree. Um, touch the soil or the grass, even maybe with just your hands. That should help. Okay. Yeah. So, Sheena. Okay. Yeah. So there's lots of different ways to ground, but for me, it's nature, bare skin on touching nature, whether it's hands or feet. I find that's the best way to to ground. Uh, okay. And I don't know if you heard my previous comment with my interpretation of what I feel is source or God or the divine. So for me, God is not a separate being or separate entity. For me, it's everybody is a piece of, if you want to use the word God or divine or source. There's lots of different labels you can use for God depending on your cultural upbringing. So it's all one and the same source. Um, so I hope that helps answer your question. Shilpa. Okay, so for me, when you're pushed towards praying, for me, praying is how you speak or talk to the divine or God. And meditation is when you're listening or receiving from God. So for me, prayer is when you want to talk to God. That's my interpretation of what praying is. So if you're being encouraged to pray, I'd say that's a good thing. It's good to uh, speak to God as well. And when you meditate, you're listening to God. So I hope that clarifies when you were saying I'm being pushed toward praying. Okay. And okay, now I mentioned, I'll just mention again about God. So my interpretation is God is not separate from me. It's within everybody on the planet. So my idea of God is not a being that's in a different place from me. For me, every being is a piece of God or the divine. I'm trying to think how else I should explain. So I don't believe God is like a separate entity or a something that judges you when you cross over into spirit. I believe everything is interconnected. So it's like one big oversoul. Not sure if my meaning is making sense the way I'm saying it or explaining it. And also in year's question about, so I'm actually not British. I'm South African. From South Africa originally, but I've been in Canada for 20 years now. So that's my origin. And so Afrikaans, that's one of the languages. It's not my home language, but I do speak a bit of Afrikaans as well. There's, I think, at least 12 official languages. So the majority of the population is a black population. There's about 50 million people, and maybe of that, there's maybe 4 million are white. So there's 2 white languages, and the rest are native African languages. So English and Afrikaans are the 2 languages spoken by the white inhabitants, and the rest are like native. And 12 is only the official ones. There are a few others that are unofficial. It's kind of like Canada. There's lots of different native languages. I don't even know half the names of them. Danielle, do I speak French? So I have 2 friends of mine that come to my place once a week to teach me, French teachers. But because I'm not in immersion, it's slow going. They've been coming over for over 2 years now, but it's 1 lesson a week. So I do get some French training. It's just once a week is not quite enough. So I can't hold a full conversation. I know some French phrases. I'm working on it. So hopefully my goal one day is to I want to speak really good fluent French, but I don't know enough to have a real proper conversation. I understand phrases and words. It's just I'm not quite there yet, but I'm hoping at some point to be able to find a way of immersion, because 1 lesson a week is not quite enough for me. It's so I'll have to say no, I don't technically speak French truly and properly yet, but I'm working on it. Okay. It's South African accent, Danielle. That's where I'm originally from. And okay. Shilpi, I've never visited a Hindu temple yet. I would love to. There's a few places I would love to see, like Israel. I'd love to go to Israel. That's the top of my list. Tibet would be awesome. I'd love to go to some of their temples. Yeah, temples would be amazing. The energy and I like the architecture of ancient places as well. Okay. Okay. Okay, so we've had a lot of really good questions tonight. This is probably the best Q&A session we've had. It's only been going not even 2 months. So we've had some really good questions tonight. Great participation. Has been really good. So we're going into hour 13 minutes. It's been really good tonight. So I'm going to hop off soon, but does anyone have any last minute quick question before I jump off? So for those of you who just tuned in, I'm not going to be on much longer, but because we've been going for about an hour 14 minutes now, so I'm going to close the session soon. But if you're interested, watch the replay. There was a lot of good questions on the replay. So this is for Q&A. Any spiritual development questions you may have, you're welcome to ask, and I'll answer as many as I can. And if I happen to be stumped on any, I do have colleagues that may be able to help, so I can find out for you. And if you think of questions during the week, maybe you can write them down and join in next Sunday and ask me those questions then, because I plan to do this every Sunday, somewhere around late afternoon, early evening, Eastern Standard Time. It's not going to be always the same time. Sundays are a bit harder, but that's the goal of this group. So share with anybody else who would like some either spiritual direction or would like to ask questions about spirit and energy and guides. Okay, the question about a stream mod. I'm not sure what you mean by a stream mod. Not familiar with that term, so if you could just let me know what you mean by a stream mod. I'm not sure what that is. So while I wait for that, any last minute questions that you want to ask? You've gone a little bit over time here, but that's okay. It was good. I'll be jumping off, closing the live soon. So if you come up with questions during the week, write them down. It's a moderator that makes sure that their stream is safe. Okay, let me think about that. Moderator makes the stream safe. Okay, let me look into that. Let me think on that a while and see what Spirit has to say for me about that. Difference between souls and spirits. That's a good question. Good question. Okay. So souls, souls for me, everybody has a soul, right? A soul is basically your higher self, your spark of the divine, your God self. Spirits can be, for me, the difference for me is souls are typically beings like deceased loved ones, whether you're from this planet or another. Soul is like, for me, a spark of God. Spirit for me can be also like a stream of consciousness that it's like basically like a negative form of energy or a positive form of energy, or just something where energy built up and formed a consciousness or an awareness, or maybe even an emotional charge within it. Sometimes people use spirit and soul interchangeably, but for me, a soul is more like your God self, your spark of God. Spirits for me aren't necessarily like a soul or a spark of the divine or God, whatever you wish to call it. Spirits for me can be a type of energy form, a negative energy form that kind of manifested from people's thoughts. Thoughts are also things. So thoughts can form a negative entity, or I should say like a negative consciousness. If enough thoughts combine, they can form an energy that can remain, say, stuck in a building or stuck on a person, stuck in your consciousness. So for me, that's the difference. I know there's a lot more to it, and it's probably a whole lot more I don't know about it, but for me, that's the basic difference, Shilpi. So I hope that's helpful to you. Okay. Okay. The question, very accurate gaming. Where should I land? I'm not sure I understand your question. What are you basically referring to, where you should land or where you should drop? I just don't understand. I want to make sure I understand your question properly before I see if I can able to give you an helpful answer to that. Okay. And for those of you just joining in, you've kind of joined at the end, but thank you for joining, and please feel free to watch the replay. We've had lots of questions tonight. It's been a really good exchange, and I'll be doing this every Sunday. So if you subscribe, you'll get notified when I'm going live. And I'm also on Facebook. I do lives on Facebook. I do psychic messages live on Facebook as well. So tune into that if that interests you, or visit me on my website. Yeah, that's every Sunday, somewhere between late afternoon and early evening. It won't always be the exact same time. I try to give a heads up on Facebook when I'm going live on YouTube, but it depends what I'm... Okay. In terms of entering the world, where do I have the best chance of surviving? Okay, when do you say when entering the world? I'm not sure what you mean by entering the world. If you're referring to a physical location, I mean, you are here physically already, but I'm not sure what you're meaning with your question. So I don't know if I can help out right now, but I'm just not sure what you mean by entering the world. If you mean, are you referring to a physical location, or are you referring to living in a certain location? Okay, should be something about. Okay, rebirth. I think, Shopi, if you're talking rebirth, I'm wondering if you're referring to reincarnation. So me personally, I am open to the belief of reincarnation. For me, your soul exists forever. It's always has been. The physical body is just one physical lifetime. I believe we've had many lifetimes. And we incarnate means we just come back to this planet and we experience and expand and grow and learn things. So that's my take on it. If that helps you, that seems helpful to you. And from what I understand and what I've gathered from more experienced mentors and mediums, when you go back to source, you reconnect with every soul or being you've ever known. Apparently, when we come back to Earth, we forget everything we've planned and decided on, and we go through experiences, lessons, etc. And then when we go back to the other side, we always regain and remember what we always knew. So that's my interpretation. So we always meet up with those we've connected to in past lives and known before. When you're on the other side, you know everything, you're aware of everything, you remember everything. Okay. Okay, I'm going to have to jump off now. We've been going for hour 22 minutes, so I'm going to end the live now, but hope to see you again next Sunday. Every Sunday I'm going to do this live, so if you come up with questions or think of questions during the week, write them down and join in next Sunday. If you subscribe, you'll be notified when I go live. So thank you for so many awesome questions. It's been really good tonight. So until next time, thanks so much for your participation. Join me on Facebook if you like on Thursdays for live messages, and or visit my website, mediumblessings.weebly.com, and that'll tell you more about me and what I do and how I work and what my offerings are. And thanks again for all of you joining, and thanks for your time. Have a great night, everybody. And until next Sunday or Thursday, bye for now.